Welcome everyone to Boost Pickup. I am your host, Vaudable, bringing you along this journey to get refueled and recharged for your week of Rocket League Esports action. We have so much to go over and such an amazing layout brought to you by the UGC Studios people. Kudos to them for being able to put on this amazing show and picking me to be the host of it. We are going to go over a lot of different topics. I'm sure all of you have paid attention to the Twitter feeds, Reddits, and everything that's been going on in the scene. But for those of you who might not have, this is the place to be. This is where you're going to get all the information you need to know about what happened in the past week of Rocket League. So if you look at the right side of your screen, you'll see all the different things on the docket for the day. We have the Rocket League Esports update, the off-season specials, the community contributions, and then finally the South American deep dive with Chamako, where we'll be doing an interview with the one and only amazing analyst and caster who was at the World Championship. He'll give us his thoughts about that and the future of the region itself and some history as well. So without any further ado, let's get into our first topic for today. It is going to be the Beyond the Summit announcement of them entering into Rocket League. A lot of great stuff to see there. You can see the tweet here where they actually are finally trying to see who might be interested in being one of the players or commentators or personalities that'll be there. So if you have a favorite commentator or player you want to see, make sure you represent them and shout them out in the comments there. But we also have that amazing video of theirs, the Rocket League Summit promo video that they showcased. That's going to be August 16th and 18th, where they will be having all the players testing out their new rosters before DreamHack Montreal. So make sure you guys are excited for that. It's going to be great to see Beyond the Summit in Rocket League itself. I know we had different events like Gold Rush and some other community events that tried to live up to the way Beyond the Summit produces their content and their events themselves, and hopefully those guys will be able to work on this event as well, because it is going to be a great thing to see in Rocket League. These events are competitive events where there's an emphasis on player interviews, content creation, and giving the audience the more casual side of their favorite personalities, and casters and pros are invited out to this thing. So it's going to be a great time to see all these players compete in this and see how far they can go against their friends and all the awesome competition that is going to be there. Hopefully all four regions will be represented, but we'll have to see a little bit later what the specifics are and the drawbacks of maybe their budget concerns or what the different regions will be represented at that event specifically. So after we are done talking about Beyond the Summit, which is an amazing announcement, we also have another new announcement that just dropped today. It is the Golden Dust Rising Stars series. It's a partnership brought to you by the amazing people at Rocket Baguette and Golden Dust Cup. They're going to be producing this European season that's going to be going on in September, where they're going to be trying to invite multiple different countries represented by different tournament organizations to put on this Rocket League series that'll be going on. They had a different thing they were doing before, which was the Rocket Baguette series that they were putting on, the Rocket Baguette Rising Stars. They had 2 seasons of that, tried to do a 3rd season, but decided to change up the format. Allegedly, they wanted to do a series where they just had a French league and maybe some other leagues for different countries that all led up to a sort of Champions League like they have in football. But instead, this might be something different in how they are changing it just to be one big Europe league, which is going to be great to see from those guys at Rocket Baguette. They've been putting on great shows for all the different broadcasts, giving the French announcers a shot at all the action that's been happening there. But in some other news, we have some sad news, actually. It is Splice departing from Rocket League, unfortunately. It might not be because they didn't have the greatest results and they did get relegated, but it might also be because of financial reasons, because we saw them recently pick up a Call of Duty League play team. Also, they are the owners of the Toronto Defiant in Overwatch League, so maybe they're trying to restructure their organization that way to kind of get out of Rocket League itself. But great to have them in Rocket League. Hopefully they come back later on when they get more funding, and I'm sure we'll see more out of the amazing players on Splice like Nose Dude, Karma, and even Jay Wismont and Jimmer. Amazing coach. Love the guy. Shout outs to him as well, as he's been doing great work with that team and great work in the community. Speaking of coaches, we have a coaching announcement from Complexity of all places. A lot of people thinking that this might be a weird organization to sponsor one of the RLCS teams over in Europe, specifically because Complexity is based out of Texas and recently got acquired by the Dallas Cowboys. But Snasky is going to be the one coaching for that team. I'm sure a lot of people are excited about that announcement. He's going to be doing great work there. He said some things where he wasn't quite happy with the results of Dignitas, but now he's going to be able to do a lot more with this Complexity roster. They have the drive, the passion, and the coordination that we've seen recently in all the events they've been competing in to try and push the envelope and maybe become one of the top teams in the region, maybe even the world as well. Complexity, they have a long way to go, but they have a great coach behind them, backing them up to try and propel them forward to stardom, even though the players are pretty solid by themselves. Speaking of amazing rosters, we do have NRG's third announcement to be announced soon. Not going to be on the show. I don't have that kind of information, unfortunately, but most likely going to be announced tomorrow. We did see a tweet from Garrett G where he is very excited to announce the third very soon after the departure of Fireburner, where he stepped down from the Rocket League community to focus more on content creation and other aspects of the game, just enjoying the streaming. It's always, and even coaching too. He's been looking to do that. Maybe going to be a coach for NRG or a different team. A lot of places that guy can go. Very talented, been in the community since the very beginning. But NRG's third will probably be announced tomorrow because that is when the roster lock is for the DreamHack Montreal qualifiers. That'll be happening. So a lot of great stuff there. That's most of the news that we have today. Pretty quick and simple to go through all of that. Just to recap, we had Beyond the Summit entering Rocket League. It's great to see those guys. Golden Dust Rising Stars, the partnership between Rocket Baguette and Golden Dust Cup. That'll be happening. And then Splice departing from Rocket League. Unfortunately, sad to see them go. Questioning what is going to happen with the items, and I'm sure we'll see more information about that in the future. And then Snasky coaching Complexity. Great to see that guy move on to bigger and greater things, working with a great org there. I have a lot of friends that work with that org, so it might be a little bit biased there. And then NRG's third, and a lot of different roster announcements that'll be happening in the next week or so before we have, or maybe even the next month too, because there's so much time before the actual event itself, and you only really need 2/3 of the roster to be consistent between the qualifiers and the event itself. But we are going to go into our off-season specials. We have a lot of people asking me to leak stuff. I don't have the information, unfortunately, as we'll be going into some of the stuff happening in the off-season. We have the ESL Masters España Season 2 League play and a great clip that I'm sure a lot of people weren't expecting to see of Pushing Gaming taking down FC Barcelona. Who would have thought this team? I know they have amazing players on it, but taking down Barcelona at their own game, it is a best of 3, so do have to preface that. Maybe it might not have happened in the best of 5, but they got shut out in the first game 2-0, and then lost 3-2 in the second one. Very close, almost a goal there, but unfortunately not enough by those players there. And there's been a lot of speculation with this roster as well for FC Barcelona. Is Bluey going to be leaving? Who knows? Maybe it's just going to be staying, taking a back seat. We'll see what happens with that in the future too, as we'll announce that maybe later on when we get more information about it. We also want to take a look at the different matches that happened during that league play and see the results from that. We have the first week done. There's plenty more weeks to play before they finish off the season. And really the biggest result that was the surprise there was the quick 2-0 by Pushing Gaming to FC Barcelona. ARG, they're another great team in that league as well, so they're continue to impress and maybe will be the top team in the league depending on how FC Barcelona are able to break back and see how they do. They were playing with a sub instead of Bluey, so I know there was a lot of speculation about that. Great for bringing that up in the chat, but you know, we'll see what happens if there are some, I don't know, some miscommunications happening between that roster. It's all speculation. The great thing about a lot of these sources, thanks to Liquipedia having the information there for the brackets, we'll probably have some newer updated graphics of our own later on, but we appreciate the handoff from that. But the next ESL league that has been going on alongside the ESL Masters España is the ESL Brazil Premier League. that has been happening. It is Season 9, not of the Rocket League season itself, but of the ESL Premier League as a whole. There's been a lot of great stuff happening there, some awesome results that we saw in the first week of play. Group A and Group B, you can see the standings now. Lotus and Erodium rising to the top, taking the top two. And IMTZ, even after a stellar performance at the World Championship, maybe not so hot. We have seen some reports that one of their players wasn't really feeling the greatest reppy there, but we'll talk to Chamako a lot more about these rosters, the teams, and how they're feeling. We could see kind of the results as well of the first weeks of play, or first week of play, actually, round 1 and 2 for both Group A and Group B. Group B, still a lot to play for, and also a bit interesting to see 4 of the top teams there, but 3 of them being in the same group. I don't really agree with that too much, but maybe next season we'll see more. It was based off of the qualifiers we saw happening beforehand, which is why there are 3 teams in Group A that are comprised of kind of the top 4 that we see out of South America. But great results there. Lotus looked pretty solid with the trio. Erodium, very good as well. And it's going to be great to see how they perform in the remainder of that. As the last time we saw this ESL league, there was an actual LAN event that went on between the top 2 teams, which was great to see. Happened during the Grand Series, so might not have been seen by too many people, but we always love more LAN events, especially for some of the regions that don't get represented as much on the world stage. So after talking about the world stage with Brazil and Spain going on there, we do have the Rocket League World Gaming Network North American Championship qualifiers. Check out this quick promo video they have. It's pretty amazing.
And a team that has not had much success against the rest of the field is off on the right foot here.
Let's go, let's do it.
And that will just go off to the side. And he's tied it.
It's do or die. 1 minute left. You have nothing to lose at this point.
Let's go, baby.
It's pretty amazing stuff to see from them. Really hype action going on there. You could hear Leaf's voice in the background from their original event that they had in the past. That was the World Gaming Rocket League Canadian Challenge. Only Canadian players and teams were allowed to compete in that for $20,000. Pretty amazing to see that they have expanded it all the way to allowing North American players in as well. We saw some great stuff being put in by Corrupted G, who won one of the placements for the finals. You can see his tweet here. Won the 3rd qualifier for World Gaming with Taroko and Mekdos. A lot of people were really expecting that roster to be a thing, as we saw Taroko and Mekdos playing under the team Plot Twist in the Rivals series with another player. So maybe Corrupted G might be trying out. Maybe he's just having fun with these players because they are really good, especially in this kind of demographic. Not really the RLCS level, but they are the top dogs when it comes to these kind of competitions. We saw Taroko perform pretty well in the previous event too. He won the Rocket League Canadian Challenge with AXB and Ralph that happened last year. So that was great to see from him. Maybe he'll try and become a 2-time champion for their event. That was the 3rd qualifier that happened this past weekend. But this weekend, we got the 4th and final one happening during DreamHack Montreal for whatever reason. But, you know, maybe there's less competition. If you don't think you're going to do too well during those qualifiers and don't have a shot at make it all the way through the closed event, you might be able to qualify off points for either the closed qualifier or qualify directly to the LAN event itself. That'll be happening at the Canadian Fan Expo, I believe, which will be a great time. The 23rd and 25th of August. A lot of time happening there. This is kind of the format that they have. The open qualifiers, a lot of people can compete in that. We have one final one of those, the closed online qualifier. Whoever has the most points that hasn't qualified by reaching the top of the open qualifiers has a shot here. There will be a few spots from them. And then there's an open live qualifier happening at the event itself before the finals kick off. There's going to be group play happening for the finals. 2 groups, a Group A and Group B, and then there'll be a final single elimination bracket between 4 teams. Great to see the stuff that'll be happening there. Unfortunately, a lot of this is not broadcasted. I believe only the finals will be broadcasted, and you know, you'll have to really watch your favorite players' streams and follow along closely with the brackets themselves. They aren't really using Smash or anything, so Fortunately, we can't really follow the action too much there, but we will update you as soon as we get those results next week. Going to be definitely going over a lot of the stuff happening with the DreamHack Montreal qualifiers. This is the big meat and potatoes of the show, apart from the South American deep dive. You can see that the qualifiers are live. The signups are still open until tomorrow night. That's where the roster lock will be happening, and we will see a lot of teams that may be shifted, especially the NRG roster announcement. But I am dying to see what's happening for that. Unfortunately, we don't know yet because we still have to wait patiently for them to announce it. I really wish we knew exactly who the rosters were going to be for all of these teams that'll be showing up. We have a lot of great groups. We'll go over those groups really quickly here. North America, the invited teams for the closed qualifier. We have Cloud9, Ghost Gaming, G2, NRG Rogue, Space Station, the Peeps, and Birds and the Bees. Pretty expected here. It's always going to be the top teams, but the 8 teams are in the upper bracket from the open qualifier, and 8 teams are in the lower bracket for the open qualifier. So it's going to be a lot of action for North America to try and battle through. We also have here the OCE region. They don't have as much to worry about in the closed qualifiers. They only have 4 more teams to compete against to get their 1 spot from that, whereas North America and Europe can get 3 spots, top 3 invited from their closed qualifier. We have Europe here, Barcelona, Dignitas, PSG, Vitality, TSM, Triple Trouble, Flexity, Bricks, and we'll see who else joins them on those closed qualifiers. And then we have South America, 4 teams that we expect to see there. There will be 4 more. We'll be asking a lot about that to Chamako later on, about what the other teams and players we can kind of expect to see representing the region during those closed qualifiers. It's going to be a lot of fun. So to remind you, 3 teams from North America, 3 teams from Europe, 1 team from OCE, 1 from South America. And there's also, I forgot to mention earlier, 1 team being invited, which is the winner of the Rocket League WGN, it's a mouthful, North American Championship Open Qualifier, or not the Open Qualifiers, the event itself. That'll be happening in August. So a lot of fun to happen there. The main event is going to be pretty great. It will be on the 6th to the 8th of September. So make sure if you don't have your tickets yet to go watch that if you are close by or have a chance to. It's a lot of fun to go out to these DreamHack events. There'll be tons of people. I hope to be there, but I'll most likely be at home rooting along with all the fans that'll be paying attention to the action that'll be happening there. A lot of speculation going on with a lot of these teams too, specifically PSG. We saw a great performance by Chaussette and Farah and Fruity happen on the world stage there, where they won the DreamHack Pro Circuit Valencia in the past 2 weeks, I believe it was actually. And it was great to see how well they actually finally lived up to the threat that a lot of people were calling them as. They kept saying, okay, PSG at the World Championship, they're like, this is the team to watch out for. A lot of players and pros said they were going to make it all the way to the finals, but unfortunately there and at DreamHack Dallas didn't really perform the greatest. But, you know, Farah, for those who might not have seen, actually announced that he is going full-time with Rocket League. He was doing, I believe, like a coding or engineering job beforehand, and now he's going to have full focus, so that might be enough to deter any of the other teams from taking the championship from him. They have 2 DreamHack wins so far, maybe looking for a 3-peat, but we'll have to see how they perform during these qualifiers, which are going to be really telling for a lot of these teams and rosters. I really hope some of these teams perform as well as we expect. NRG, it's going to be a huge test for their new third because we have no idea who it is right now. I know there's been a lot of guesses. Some people think, oh, maybe Turbo's going to come all the way from Europe to perform here. I doubt that's going to happen. And then some people were like, okay, maybe it's Lethamir, but it's probably not him either. Maybe it's going to be Torma coming from Cloud9. Probably not him either, because, like, why would you leave Cloud9 after doing so well? Recently winning DreamHack Dallas, too. So much speculation happening there. And then there's all the European teams that there hasn't been too much out there yet about some of the roster changes there. We don't have Mystic on the bricks, so there is an opening there for some player to happen. We also see a lot of some great changes happening with some of the other players. Some people are even saying that Casio might even leave Triple Trouble for whatever reason. I kind of doubt that, but we have to wait till all this all comes out until we see what exactly happens with these rosters. But it'll be great to see if North America can defend their title at a North American DreamHack. We saw Cloud9 win the last one at Dallas. Great performance by them. But TSM, even after making it all the way to those finals, they didn't even look too great at the Valencia event that was going on. So maybe we'll see some shakeups there and see how they perform. Hopefully they don't get knocked out too early if they make it through the closed qualifier at a decent pace. We'll see what happens for those teams. But it'll be great to see if PSG can rise to the challenge or if Cloud9 will be able to do well. Whatever happens with NRG, hopefully it's a solid performance and they have a solid third backing them up. And I'm really looking out for Rogue because they've been steadily improving along the way. But that's enough about the DreamHack Montreal qualifiers. Let's get into the community events, the community contributions that'll be going on. Yeah, it's definitely going to be Gibbs rounding out that roster. Oh, that'd be crazy. But we have the Rival Esports Summer Open that was just announced. Great guys there that have been putting on community events. You can see the announcement here, bringing $1,500 per region, which is great to see. There's some open qualifiers and closed qualifiers happening at a pretty optimal time when there's not really much going on in the community. So Summer Open, we've seen so much stuff from them. Has been pretty awesome performances by the staff there as well. I like to chalk up all these TOs. All the TOs in the community have done such a great work to try and bring some more events during the off season. It's great to see that kind of stuff happening. Do also want to talk about some event that one of the members that created it is in the chat room right now. Lawler himself created the Brawl, which is an amazing event that is going to be going on weekly. And we saw a champions draft happening, or a captain's draft happening between a bunch of different players: Corrupted G, AJ, Memory, and Gyro. They were the ones who chose their specific rosters, and it's great to see these kind of events happen. $1,000 over the weeks that we'll be seeing from Lawler. He'll probably be on the show at some point to give us more analysis and detail about the awesome project he's putting on. But Kronovian Classics with Corrupted G, AJ Drippe and Lethamir, Memory, Miss, and Reddles, and then Gyro, Wonder, and Sathiu. We have the results here. If you don't want to be spoiled, definitely don't tune in right now. But these are the results of that first broadcast that he had. He has the full VOD up on his YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. I believe it's just at Lawler. I could be mistaken. He'll probably correct me in the chat as well. But great to see how these teams have performed. Memory, Miss, and Reddles. I'm sure a lot of people weren't really expecting this roster to go too far during this double elimination bracket. You can kind of see some of the awesome results there, but a lot of the teams performed pretty decently. AJ Drippe and Lethamir not really doing as hot as we would like to see them perform, so we'll kind of have to wait and see if those players can step it up the next time. Lawler_RL is that YouTube. I've been updated by the man himself, so definitely check out that amazing VOD. Lots of stuff to just digest and enjoy because all the guys there have a lot of fun. They even had Turbo on comms, and Miss had an interesting moment that you probably want to check out. So make sure you tune into that too with some awesome content going on there. Speaking of content and awesome stuff, we have not really a great segue, but we have the Skirmish Invitational, which is brought to you by Dazarin, who has been streaming a lot of these events. He'll be streaming a lot more of those too. This is kind of the next week that I'll be doing this one. Going to be back on Friday night, double limb, best of 5 till grand finals, more team slots, and $100 prize pool to start off the night, and probably more being added if people want to donate to that. So if any of you are interested in taking part in that and are actually good enough, I know I could not approach him and be like, hey, I want to make a team and sign up for this. It's mainly bubble teams, sometimes high RS or level players. So we'll kind of see some of those rosters there as well. Just to give you a recap of the team that took the victory there this past week was Plot Twist, as they had the roster of Mekdos, Ajax, and Taroko. Didn't have Corrupted G there, so maybe this is just their main roster that they're having for this, and then they had Corrupted G for the other one, but great to see them perform pretty well. We saw some other interesting rosters. Upper 90, we've seen them a lot of times. Democat, Buddy, and Thunda. Regalia, we've seen that name around the bubble scene for a while. Spuda, Doombug, and Grills, pretty solid. Gold Patrol, unfortunately, we didn't see any of them because they DQ'd out, and I guess did not show up or were pretty busy. That's Dapper, Tie Not Tyler, and Shadow. And then also another, there's so many teams actually. I'll just mention all the teams at this point because I've gone through the work of doing it. Linked Up, Sosa Skills, and Drove Freshness. Pretty solid team there. They actually came in second during it. So they were able to bracket reset Plot Twist, but unfortunately they could not take the win against them. And we also have Cleveland, which used to be Seoul Esports, Savvy Seal, Bork, and Raw Greg. Onset, which is Bluey's, Calm, and Rally. Calm is a player that a lot of people are looking out for because he's trying to break through the bubble scene and get to the rival series. He's been performing quite expertly throughout the off season and the during some community tournaments that have been going on. And we had Boulevard, which is Allraz, Brendan, and Andy. So great work being put on by both him and Lawler to keep the community events running in North America. But we have to move all the way over to the other side of the globe, which is OCE, as we have the gauntlet that's been going on and the glove, which is kind of the qualifier event to that. We have last week's champions, which were Renegade Esports, as they were doing pretty well themselves, or the Renegades, which is Kami, Torsauce, and Siki. They actually were able to return and get another win. 11-3 is their record currently. They're looking pretty strong, but they did not have to face against the top dogs, whereas this week they have a lot more competition. We can check out this week's bracket as well. You'll see it's a lot tougher for the Renegades to try and make it all the way to the grand finals. And it's a gauntlet style bracket, which means the team, which is the farm, they qualified through a bubble team gauntlet bracket, and they'll be facing off against Dunk Driving, where each team, after they win, they'll have to go through the next toughest machine that'll be happening through this bracket. Dunk Driving and the Farm, then the Renegades, Ground Zeroes, and then the Chiefs Esports Club. Great to see all these teams return after Valencia to try and face off against each other. And it's amazing to see even more community events going on. Like, show matches are amazing because it gives the fans a chance to see some of these players when they aren't having all the nerves in the world going for these top level events like Valencia or DreamHack Montreal, even RLCS itself, so that they can kind of see, okay, how are my favorite players faring in the offseason? How are they going to look going into these qualifier events? Because that's going to be a big question for a lot of these OCE teams. We haven't seen too much of them in tournaments in the offseason. This has mainly been the biggest thing that I have been able to pick up on my radar. It's another thing as well. If you guys have any specific community events you want to see covered on here, I know Esports Management recently announced a North American weekly tournament series. They've been running a European one that's been going on and being broadcast by Rocket Baguette. So if you guys find any more information or any specific tournaments you want to see covered on next week's show, make sure to tweet at me at Vaudible. Let me know. It's on the ticker down below so you can kind of see what's more going on in the Rocket League scene instead of just what I'm announcing here, just because this is all I've been able to pull up in the short amount of time that I had before the first episode of Boost Pickup. But that's been some great stuff going on with a lot of the information that we've had so far. We've just to quickly recap for those who might just be tuning in. We talked about the Beyond the Summit entering Rocket League. We talked about the Golden Dust Rising Stars, the partnership between Rocket Baguette and Golden Dust from Spain doing their own European season going on in September. Splice departing from Rocket League. Snasky coaching complexity. Good and bad happening there. Energy's third to be announced. We'll hopefully see it tomorrow. Unfortunately, we can't see it today. ESL Masters España with FC Barcelona playing with a sub, but they did get 2-0'd by Pushing Gaming. We did see ESL Brazil have some great results and already know the top two for Group A. We also have the Rocket League WGN North American Championship going on this weekend for the Open Qualifier number 4. Final one, but it's happening during the qualifiers for DreamHack Montreal. I don't know why they're doing it, but, you know, if you don't have a chance, it might be a good chance to qualify. Get invited to a LAN event. Will be happening at the Fan Expo going on in August. And speaking of DreamHack Montreal qualifiers, that's all happening this weekend. Saturday is the open qualifiers. Sunday is the closed qualifiers. Plenty of streams going to be happening there. I believe Yummy Cheese Man will be doing the OCE ones, and Rocket Street will probably be doing the South American ones as we kind of normally see there. We'll have to wait to see the announcements for who is streaming North American and the European qualifiers for that. But it's usually the usual suspects. We have the Rival Esports Summer Open that was just announced, the Brawl that's going on, put together by Lawler, which is kind of a captain's draft style double elimination bracket tournament that happens weekly. We have the Skirmish Invitational that's put on by Dazarin. He does that weekly as well, trying to invite bubble players to get more experience in a live streamed event so that they can prepare for the upcoming off-season events and then hopefully for qualifying for the Rival Series. We have the Gauntlet and the Glove that are going on in OCE, brought to you by Yummy Cheeseman. It's all on his channel. I believe it's Yummy_Cheeseman there. And then, last but not least, as I've been talking for about 30 minutes or so, we do have our deep dive about to happen with Chamako. I'm sure a lot of people have been patiently waiting for us to introduce our guest for the evening, Chamako09. Are you able to hear us yet? We have to wait to see if we can get you. Oh, there you are. And thank you for joining us here on the first episode of Boost Pickup. How are you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I mean, it's an honor, really an honor. Appreciate
you coming on too, man. So we have a lot to cover today. I'll just give everyone kind of an overview of exactly what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking a lot about Chamako, talk a lot about the South American region, but specifically going over the RLCS World Championship experience, the beginning of South American Rocket League and kind of the different tournaments that have formed it to be what it is now. The entrance of South America into the RLCS, which just happened this last season. Finally, we have hashtag Salmon RLCS, and then the off season and beyond. Are you ready, Chamako?
I'm good. Yeah.
Awesome. So, first question I have for you about your experience at the RLCS World Championship. Did you believe you would ever be joining the RLCS guys on the desk at the World Championship?
I was hopeful, I was hopeful that as long as Sam was able to make it to the RLCS, then maybe one of us, would have a chance, and maybe that one could be me. Logistically, it's easier for Psyonix to bring me because I live in the US, I don't need a visa and nothing like that. So, but it was, I was the better fit in terms of budget, for them. But all the guys in Rocket Street are amazing. So if they had chosen anyone else, I would have been happy for them. And it just meant that I needed to work more, and that's it. But so I was hopeful that I could have the chance. But I wasn't sure. They had talked to me before, and I wasn't. I mean, I really had no idea, so I went on and bought a ticket for myself to go to RLCS. I wanted to go there. I had a hotel booked also, with some friends, and then I was about to buy the plane ticket, but then they called me and like no, we're gonna get all that clear. Don't worry about it. So yeah, I wasn't 100% sure.
Well, it's great that you got to save some money, make some money, and make some great memories at the event itself. So when you got the call and after the freak out that kind of probably happened after that for the announcement, as we saw happen on their Twitter, they were like, okay, we're just going to announce some talent that's going on. And then everyone saw Chamako in the desk analyst section. It's like, yes, so happy for you to get the chance there. It was great to see you join all the amazing talent that was being showcased, all the players and all the casters there as well. And the analysts on the desk, you got to join Gibbs and Lawler. And then we saw Cheese, Corelli, James Spot, Jorby, Turtle, and Wavepunk. Some great guys all around the scene helped out there. But how did you prepare for the big, well, not the big day, but really the big weekend, like probably the biggest weekend of your casting career so far? Right.
So I couldn't say anything about it. Like I couldn't tell anyone like I'm gonna be a caster or I'm gonna be an analyst for RLCS. So they were waiting, for that big moment to spread the word. And basically, I had to keep it to myself. But at the same time, I stream in the morning, so I wanted to, use that time to study. So every morning I will wake up. I'll still do the stream, but I was watching replays all the time. So for 2 hours, I will every day I watch replays and I look at the teams. I wasn't sure what they wanted from me, so I just went with whatever I use for myself. So I was looking at the players, seeing how they rotate, how they behave. Are they attacking more? Are they laying on the back? Just everything I could find out about the teams. I just focused on the teams that were gonna make it to RLCS. So those teams that didn't make it, I didn't put too much attention on them. I had enough, of just being ready or getting information from South America, from EU, from OCE, from NA. So it's a lot of teams, and I just, no disrespect to the teams that didn't make it, but I wanted to focus on the ones that were gonna be in RLCS. So basically, I did a lot of homework with the regionals and with DreamHack Dallas, which was the closest event, prior to the RLCS. So I studied a lot of those 2 tournaments and basically went with that.
And you were actually there able to provide some commentary for the event itself. So what was the major difference between being an analyst at RLCS Season 7 and casting the Grand Series?
Totally different, because when I'm casting, I'm just shouting on the screen. I'm just trying to make it hype, to make it exciting, and I'm just looking at what's happening right there, and I make comments about it. And then after the match is over, I will give a little bit of analysis, but it's based on one match or one series. It's based on 5 games at most. But on this case, I have to study the teams and try to predict what was going to happen, have an idea of how this team can tackle this other team, how these South American teams, if they're going to have a chance against NRG, for example, INTC against NRG, how are they going to have a chance? What do they have to do? But, how is NRG's play style, bothersome for INTC? All those little things I have to, keep in mind. So it's more of a what if scenario rather than what just happened and what they have to fix. It's a very what if. So it was really hard for me because I'm not used to that. I had to rely, going to the team at Rocket Street. I had to talk a lot with Alternix, who's in the chat right there, with General. I had to go with those guys that have more experience than me. They actually play at a higher level than me, so they can see things that I don't see. And it was very different. It was something that took me out of the comfort zone, for sure.
So you had a lot of resources you kind of had to dip into with the Rocket Street guys and everything else going on in the scene to get the perfect analysis of what could potentially happen here, because we haven't really seen much, before the RLCS World Championship of the South American region facing off against the international competition.
Yeah, and it's all about, hey, do they actually have a chance, to tell me up front and be honest with me? And that was a thing I kept asking them, I think, until the day I arrived to Newark, because it's I really wanted to see them win, but I don't want to be this guy that is extremely biased and, is going to be saying things in front of thousands of fans, and then be like, well, why is he there? Why is he in the desk? He doesn't know anything. He's just extremely biased. I want to support my team. I don't want to look like someone that doesn't support South America. But at the same time, I want to be, as honest as possible, and give you the details that you need to know in order to enjoy that matchup to the fullest.
That's amazing. So another question for you on this. What did it mean to you seeing South America represented on the world stage at RLCS?
It was everything, man. It really was everything. Like, we have been working. Like, Rocket Street was built for that moment. That's it. We were doing all the work. We were doing all the keeping the scene together. When we were not called for season 4, season 5, it's like, man, like what do we have to do? And players felt it too. Like some players decided, well, we're not gonna put more time into this. We are college students. We have careers or something like that. We cannot invest that much time in something that will not bear any fruits. So we have to keep everything together, and we say, we as a team, as a Rocket Street, when there were no other organizations in South America. There were a few others, but not strong organizations. Some of those organizations are maybe focused on a country and not on the whole, continent. So seeing that South American teams actually had the chance and compete and did well in RLCS, meant the world to not just me, but for everyone in the team. We were waiting for that moment for so long, so that's a vindication that we were doing what we had to do. We were doing things right.
So you just mentioned that they performed well during the World Championship. Did they perform how you expected them to?
Yes and no. I really I was expecting Loki to win a few matches, a few games, not the whole series, but at least a few games, and they had a chance. I thought, against Triple Trouble, which is an amazing team, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but I thought they had the chance before, getting into RLCS. I think Loki might have a chance, against Triple Trouble, and when they were playing, I felt it like they really do have a chance, but they lost track of, they were not focused enough. I think maybe the nerves. There's a lot of things that goes through you when you have 7,000 people watching you and you're just in the middle of you're the center of attention. So even though the crowd was great and the crowd was cheering for them, I know it was a really tough situation for the South American teams. So in that case, their matches were not completely blowouts. They kept it competitive. So in that case, I think they fulfilled my expectations. And INTC, wow, just having two wins over Energy, which I thought Energy was the strongest team going into the tournament. So I was really impressed. Really impressed with INTC.
So another follow-up to that too, like perfect segue into this question. Did you believe INTZ would take 2 games against NRG?
No. Maybe one at most, And I think, honestly, INTC had the worst group between Loki and INTC. Because a lot of people, were saying like, well, PSG hasn't been doing that well. They might not be that strong. And I was watching PSG play, and they have this. I remember, this series against FC Barcelona in the regionals. That was an amazing series. I mean, if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. It's an amazing
definitely
series.
Go check. They have it on their Twitch channel and on their YouTube channel. It's like it's insane how many people kind of underestimated PSG there. So, like.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say it's like INTZ being in that group of death and performing the way they did. Like, were they the team that impressed you the most out of South America?
Yes.
Or
yeah, definitely. They impressed me so much because this team might have been the least credited team in South America. Like they were built, they got together as a team just for the grind series, like maybe a few weeks before the grind series, but they didn't have a team. They were not they were not playing together. Repi was playing with Low Key, well, before they became Low Key, but he was playing with Thunder and Cart, and he got left out of the team. So he looked for the 2 best players he could find, and PJ is a guy that has been there for forever, and we know he's great. but he has never stuck in the team. He plays well with you for 5 months, maybe. I'm gone, and that's it. So what's wrong? Is it PJ that's wrong, or is it he's looking for something else? We don't know. So we know he's good, but can he play with someone else? That's a trick part. And then Matix is a guy that, we have seen him and he's decent, but we never thought about him as RLCS level. And then he comes here and he is making the team win, and he was doing great. But PJ was a guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have any boost. I don't care. I'm gonna take the ball away from you and make it put it on the net. So I was really, really, really impressed with INTZ.
So what do you think is the biggest take back that the players from the South American region got from competing in Newark?
That they have the talent, that they can compete with the best. That's validation. They got it now. They have been saying that for a long time. They compete in NA servers and they do well. But people just don't want to accept the fact that they're good because their playstyle is different, because they haven't had the chance to prove themselves. And now they had the chance. They did good. They obviously didn't win any series, but they're getting there now. They're getting more experience. They're getting more confidence in them, and I think that's the biggest takeaway.
So what were they really lacking the most that prevented them from getting that series win?
Defense.
I didn't want to say it myself. I wanted you to say it, so I didn't get a tag. But
it's defense. It's defense, and it's a funny, sad thing that I saw backstage when they were screaming when they were on the practice area, is that, for example, INTC was really good at communicating on offense, but they're not really good at communicating at defense. And I had breakfast with them a few times over there in RLCS, and I'm telling them, you guys have to communicate also on defense. If you're on the wall and you're ready to defend the ball, you gotta say you're on the wall or something, because a lot of times then another player will get up on the wall and hit the one that was already there, takes him completely out of the of the equation, and then you don't have the best clear. You don't do anything with the ball after someone actually gets a clear. It's a bad situation for you guys. So you actually have to communicate, find a way to let them know where you're positioned so that you don't make double commits. Like the same way you do it in offense, right? But you have to communicate it back in defense. So that there's things that they still need to figure out as teams, and I think it's a region kind of thing. We don't have any maybe any quick chat commands for defense, so that maybe means that we don't have to use it. No, just use your voice. Okay, you can communicate with your voice. Just do it. And I think once they finally figure it out, maybe they'll be stronger, because they can defend. I mean, they have the reflexes. They know what to do with the ball. They just don't work as a team, as a unit in defense. That's the biggest thing. And the second thing is, put the ball on the net. Like, a lot of times they had a chance to score.
Oh my goodness!
and they were not able to, just put the ball on the net. So the same thing. If you're gonna miss the ball, call it. If you know the shot is not going in, just tell your teammates, hey, missed left or missed right or something. So you have someone rotating it and getting the ball and being there before the defense. I don't know, but try to put the ball on net. You just try to put the ball on net. I think that's the thing that killed Loki. They were not able to score, like maybe half the open nets they had, and that was bad. That was rough for me too. I mean,
even INTZ, we saw the first game against NRG. They could have won it in 3-0 to NRG if they were able to put the ball into the back of the net, but unfortunately we didn't see that. But what was really the biggest strength we saw showcased by the South American region?
Strength, I think, on the same token, it's offense. They had a really aggressive style, and it worked. I think they had to tweak it a little bit, but their style works. They don't have to change everything they do. To communicate on defense, that will be way better, and then keep attacking the way they do. And I think obviously it's not gonna work the same with every single team. Like, for example, we saw against Cloud9. Cloud9 is maybe a little bit faster than Loki. Loki didn't look that fast, but I was expecting actually INTC to look slower. That was my point of view. I thought INTC was going to be slower than Loki, and it looked the other way around. So there's some weird factors over there, but I think they can rely on their skills. They're mechanically really good, and I think their style with some tweakings can work. They don't have to put everything down and start from the bottom. They have some solid foundations.
Some solid foundations that have been built up over many years of South American Rocket League that we've haven't really seen too much of, and that's why we kind of brought you onto the show. So why don't you take us all the way back to the origins of South American Rocket League? How did it all start for the region?
So this crazy guy called Pavonator, he had this idea of doing tournaments. He started in Mexico. He's Mexican, and the funny thing is, if you put Latin American tournament or something, the Brazilians will get there. They're looking for those. They don't care if it's an NA or whatever. No, we're gonna get there. So he saw that the best players were actually from South America, and they had a lot of players over there. So decided, okay, Mexico. They can play in NA tournaments, but South America doesn't have anything. Let's give them a chance. And that's how it started. They switched focus to South America. We're gonna start doing tournaments over there. I was doing my own tournaments in Puerto Rico, and then I put a video out there. Like, hey, I'm casting. Do you guys need a caster? And Pavonator saw it. He called me. Hey, we want you over there. Let's go. And that's basically how we, me and him have been working together. I think he had like a month doing tournaments, and that's when I got in. So I've been there since probably the beginning. And El General, he was playing, but he decided he wanted to join forces, and he was of better use as a admin, and help the scene work out. And so he's been there. We've been doing weeklies for a long time. We did, 1v1s, 2v2, 3v3 weeklies for, I don't know, maybe more than a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't know if that long, but we did a lot of weeklies for a long, long time. We had, some other tournaments with OCE before OCE was in the RLCS. We did the Cross Pacific Cup. So we actually had to play in US West servers. So that's like 190 something ping for both. Yep. I think OCE had a slightly worse ping than South America, but it was a thing that we had to do just to show people that these two scenes had talent. So we put the prize pool in there. We got casters from each region, and we did the tournament. It was a 2-day tournament. So 2-day tournament after we had the qualifying teams, and that was a great action. Sadly, OC got into ROCS before us, so we didn't do any no more. But we have been doing that kind of thing. We had the Cup of America, so we have each country with a team playing in the tournament, just like what the League of Rockets did for the World Cup. We did it a few months earlier than that, but we have been doing everything we can to just keep the scene
keep
together,
the scene alive, keep it breathing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's awesome to see, like, how far it's come since then. So there's been so many different players recycled through the years of Rocket League experience that's been happening for even South America itself. Who were really the breakout players at the beginning of South American Rocket League?
The main guy, still the main guy today, and sadly we didn't see him in RLCS, but it's Kaio TG1. It's Kaio TG1. He's been the main guy forever. By the way, if you don't know, TG1 stands for the Great One. I baptized him like that. He had a TG1 on the name, but what's the TG1 stands for? I don't know. Yeah. Well, you're the Great One, okay? That's what you are. And this guy has been, at the top of South American Rocket League forever. He's, to me, to this day, he's probably the best player. And it goes up and down. Some players have good weeks, and you think, well, this player might be the best right now. But Caio has been there for a long, long time. Another player that has been still playing, and it was really, really good. I love him to death. Is Juan, which also we didn't see him. Funny thing, Juan and Caio used to play together on what was the name? Vicious Squad. Vicious Squad was the name. They changed it later on to Nox. But Juan is also a guy that has been there forever, and he's really good. He was playing in Lotus also this past few years, and he's a guy that he has remained at the top. One of the guys that I say has gone to on my list of top 1 players is Juan also. We did a tournament. I don't know if it was the SAM Championships or the Champions.
Like the LAN event. Yeah.
And we had weekly MVPs, and Juan was in the conversation or just winning the MVP every single week.
I remember that. That was so good too.
It was like, do we want to vote for Juan again? And like, yes. I mean, he's doing everything. So he is an amazing player. So those are the 2 main players from the beginning that are still playing. But we also had, the guys from Black Dragons, Freedom. He's excellent player. Cranes. We had Godan. So they're gone now, but they were, part of those founding fathers of South America, and the guys from Cadê Boost. Cadê Boost means where is my boost? And Cadê Boost had, Se, which is an excellent player. And, back then, excellent player. I don't know how good he is now. And the only guy that...
Maybe I'll be able to test it out.
And the only player that is not Brazilian that has been, like of deep impact on the region, which was Tequila. Tequila is an Argentinian.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
The guy, also, college student, decided, to quit after a few years, but he was really, really good. And I'm doing a disservice here. I have to mention also Haber Camper. Haber and Firefox, they have been together for a long, long time. Firefox was also part of Academia Boost. And Haber Camper, Haber back then, he wasn't top 3. Haber was more of a 4th, 5th seed on the region, in terms of teams. He was a PS4 player, just like Caio was back then. But, he kept grinding, and now, he's at the top of Rocket League in South America.
I think great to see how those players.
If I'm missing someone, Alfred, please let me know. But I think I covered, the top.
I mean, it's hard to cover everyone, especially because of the scene being as long-lived as it has been so far. It's been like 4 years of Rocket League now, 3 years for a lot of these competitive scenes as well. But from the beginning of South American Rocket League to now, which players have really improved the most that you've seen?
Players, I have to say Howard Camper is one of these guys. He has improved a lot. He was good back then, but like I said, not top of the chain. Pretty good, but not top of the chain. And now he's right there. You have to talk about Howard Camper if you're gonna talk about these guys on the top. I think guys that we saw come in a little bit later that impressed us a lot. We have to talk maybe about Math. He wasn't there in the beginning, and then once we saw him, it's like, wow, this guy is good. And in the beginning, I saw Math flying a lot and doing some crazy things, but he was a kind of a slowish flyer. Not really slow, but when you compare him to some of the other top guys, like he needed to improve that a little bit, and now he can just go anywhere in a blink of an eye. So that's one guy I would say has improved a lot. And then I really have to talk about the guys that used to be in Cryptic, Sempa and Saro. When they started, they were not champs or something like that. They were not at that level. They were pretty average, but they keep grinding. Like I'm telling you, we have weeklies, and they were there every week. Like they were participating 2-3 tournaments every single week. and these guys got good. I'm not gonna say really fast, but you can see the improvement. They were putting the time, and those are the guys that if we're gonna talk about grind in South America, we have to talk about Senpai and Sato.
Great to see like all the names that you've mentioned, like making it all the way to the Grand Series and being able to perform during the RLCS Season 7 season. But out of all those players that have improved, out of the breakup players we've seen, we got to talk a little bit about the tournament org, the main one that has helped keep the Rocket League going in South America, Rocket Street. How have they helped nurture the South American scene?
I think I talk about that a little bit, when we're talking about the history, but it's all about keeping players engaged. I think that's the main thing. We make sure that, we had some content for them, and that, we kept the hopes alive that, I think we were the only organization that was talking consistently to Psyonix, trying to get them interested in the region. We had good graphics. Also, that's one of the things that people see Rocket Street and they always mention,
Graphics,
wow, those graphics.
So nice.
Where do you get them? Who's doing that? You must have a team of 15 people working on that. It's only one guy. It's only one guy that does everything. But we were blessed with people that really wanted to work in the scene. And the only thing we have not been blessed is casters in Portuguese that want to put as much time as we want them to. That's the only thing. But other than that, we have work, weeklies and just get going out of the box and doing some different tournaments to keep them engaged and keep the hopes, alive. That's the main thing. Now we are, like every organization that grows, you can't keep doing weeklies, every all the time.
Not financially stable.
And once you grow, you want to do some, things that are better than the previous tournament. So you want to keep improving, and we, we're trying to do that right now. Like you said, who's gonna do DreamHack? Well, we're gonna do DreamHack, and that's the kind of things that we want to keep working on. Things that are at the top of the level of the Rocket League mountain in South America.
So now let's kind of shift gears to the big payoff that the region, Rocket Street, everyone that's been working so hard for years, hoping season after season to get into the RLCS. They finally managed to do it this past season. The announcement was, I believe, in February. When that post went live, what were your initial thoughts?
This is good. This is really good. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's hope for the best. We got a lot of work on our shoulders now, and that actually put a lot of pressure on us because we knew we were doing the Grand Series. We knew that it was, not just for the players now, but also for us to look good. We needed to up everything we're doing. Graphics were good, but they gotta be better now. We need a studio. We need casters to go up and above of what we had before. We need to sound good. We need to not make any mistakes. So, production wise, it was a lot of pressure on us. But also the good thing is that players made it very easy for us to be hyped about it because everyone wanted to participate. Everyone wanted to look good. Everyone, was so invested into making it to RLCS. So we saw some of the best Rocket League we have seen in the scene.
It was so good.
Yeah. So it was a lot of pressure, but at the same time, it was so good for us to watch everything and call it as we saw it because we're fans. I mean, we're here because we enjoy it too. Most of us started either playing the game or just watching it, and saying, man, this deserves something better than what it is getting right now. So initial thoughts, we were a little bit scared. I think we were, feeling the pressure, but at the same time, we're gonna do it. It is the time. It has come. So let's go heads on.
That's amazing. Just to hear your thoughts and like how everyone was just all super together with the plan going forward. They all want to participate, all want to be a part of it, and make it the best thing it could be. And it was amazing to see how well you guys did with the production of the Grand Series. Just want to give like a big round of applause to you guys. Don't want to make it too loud for the microphones, but it was great to be a part of that in my own little bit because we got to do the English broadcast with Rocket League Central. But apart from all that, some great stuff that we saw throughout the weeks. We also saw an amazing format for the Grand Series. For those that might not know too much about the Grand Series, what was different for the format of that compared to the regular RLCS season?
So the expert in the format is Alternix. He is the formats guy. You tell him we want something different, and his eyes, blink. He gets very excited about it. He's gonna work something out. He will search every single esports tournament that he has watched. From Dota, from CS:GO, anything he has seen, he will research it and bring you the tournament. So he obviously wanted to be different, and we used the groups, we used the double elimination format. We had a little bit of everything right there. The round robin. So I don't know. It was him. You put a blank canvas and he will just make the picture and try
just
to
make
get
all the
something creative.
greatest brackets he can basically.
Yes. So I don't know. I mean, we talk about it a little bit, and it's basically saying the only things we can say to Alternix is that's going to be too long. We don't have time for that, or that's going to be too short. Fix it a little bit here and there, but that's it. That's it. So if you want a class, a bracket class, format, just go to Alternix and he will give you the details. The guy is he loves to do that, and then him and General they will get it together and work out the seating. I think the seating was great. It worked really well. So yeah. I'm not gonna take his words because I can't.
We'll probably reach out to him later on to talk more about the region itself and how he came up with the concept for the amazing event you guys were able to put on for that. So speaking of the Grand Series and all the amazing weeks of league play there was for that, even the qualifiers, is there a specific series that kind of sticks out to you in your mind that really showed off South American Rocket League? If anyone could go back and watch this, what would that series be?
I think you gotta go with the qualifying match between Loki and Erodium. It was
so good.
Best of 7. It was for a spot in RLCS, and it was the first spot for RLCS, so both teams were really nervous about it. Loki wins the first 3, then Erodium wins the 4th one in overtime, and then wins 3 more. And the thing is, Kyle switched vehicles. I don't know. He was playing with an Octane, then he comes with the Dominus, and is that gonna make a change? Yes. I mean, I don't know why, but it made such a big difference. So they win the next 3 matches. We go to the last match. We're in overtime thanks to goals from Card. He was able to tie the match. And then the rest is history. Loki won the match in the end, but that was a crazy matchup. It was a beautiful display of Rocket League from both teams.
Yeah, so definitely make sure you guys search that up. I believe it's on their Twitch channel, Rocket Street, which is just great to see all these amazing matches come to fruition because we've seen the top 4, top 3 even from South America face off against each other in LAN events, but it doesn't have that much context as there is when you're trying to qualify for the World Championship in Newark. They finally get to that last game, and unfortunately, Erodium weren't able to make it. So many people were upset because Erodium weren't there to represent South America, but INTZ, Loki did great jobs there. And going into the off season, now that we have talked about kind of the World Championship, we've talked about the beginning of South American Rocket League and their entrance to RLCS. What are some of the crazy roster changes that we have kind of seen so far by these players?
Well, first off, Loki decided to go away with do away with Renan and the sub Fassi. We didn't hear too much about the sub, but there was a sub too, and he had to go away. The franchise didn't want him anymore, the organization, and now the speculation is Kaio gonna go there, and yes, it finally did happen. So we had probably two of the best players in South America, Card and Kaio together. That's really crazy. But I have to say this: we had two of the best players in Math and Kaio together. So we're gonna have to see, what's gonna happen now with Kaio. Is he gonna complement Card and Thunder very well, or is it gonna be something more like we are very hyped about this team and they're not gonna make it? I think they're playing good. We haven't seen too much from them, and you saw the brackets, and you mentioned it a little bit on the BPL, on the Brazilian Premier League, that the bracket. We had three really strong teams on one side and then only one really strong team on the other side. Sadly for us, the strong team is low-key on that side. It's the only one. So their matches, can make them look way better than they are. So we're gonna have to wait for them to face some tougher competition. But that's still a big roster change. I think nothing against Renan, because I think he's a great player. I really like him, but it's hard to say you're better than Kaio. It's really hard for anyone to say that. And the thing that Kaio brings to the team is so much confidence. Like, I am really this good. I control the midfield. I'm the king of the midfield. I can pass the ball really well. I can defend the midfield very well, but I can strike better than anyone in the scene. So that's one thing that Kaio brings to the table. And then you can have Thunder be that more defensive player, even though they were trying to get him to be more offensive. But I think his role is more on the defensive side. That's naturally his role. So you can play
kind of
very
rounds out
aggressively
the
with
roster
Card.
a bit more too.
Yeah, I think they can play more naturally, each player in there. Especially Card and Thunder. They are the friends. They are the ones that plays together, and they want to find someone that complements them really well. So let's see how that goes. That's the biggest change. Then Renan end up going to Lotus, because Lotus lost one. So let's talk about Lotus a little bit. We saw them play, and they're playing really good. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with the way that Renan has been integrating to the team, because the thing used to be that Lotus will hit the ball really hard for every clear, and Renan doesn't do that. He will, he can do a strong clear if he wants to, but he can also, slow the pace a little bit and go out with a dribble or something like that, or go for the pass right away. And that's something that they were not doing before. And now that's giving Firefox and Harvard a chance, to advance a little bit and then wait for the pass up front and attack and be more aggressive. That's something, maybe counterintuitive, like we're going to, slow down a little bit, and that's going to make us more aggressive, but that's the way it's working. So I think, I was talking about Lotus before the ROCS, like I really thought they needed a change. I wasn't one to say, well, you guys have to split. That's wasn't my job, but I really thought that they needed it. And Renan over there is giving me the reason right now. I think it's being good for the team. Juan switched to Erodium now, so he's trying to fill Kaio's shoes. Tough endeavor, really tough. But the thing is that what we're seeing from Erodium right now is that they're clicking. They're really clicking together. Math is still aggressive, but not overly aggressive right now, which is I think is a good thing. And he's letting Juan attack. And Juan used to be a defender in Lotus. I know I'm mentioning a lot of teams right now, and you might be getting confused. It's clear in my mind. Maybe not on yours.
No, it's all good. Keep going. Yeah.
But he was more of a defender on Lotus. and that drive me mad, because I'm telling you, he's the guy that for a few weeks he was the MVP. You know, he was doing everything. So why are you holding Juan on defense and not letting him attack as much as he can? And now on the Rodium, he's attacking again. He's putting the ball on the net. He's going for the ball on offense. I really enjoy that. I think that's, first, Juan is looking better now, obviously, but it doesn't feel like Math has to do as much as we were thinking that he would need to do. When he was with Caio would feed him a lot, so he was attacking because he was getting the passes. But right now he's not forcing anything, and the team is still looking pretty good. They won against INTC. It was a close match. It was a very close match, but they were playing with Juan and with Noisy. Noisy, a player, used to be the best player in Orchid. He's now, I think, a sub for Erodium. I think Vault is still going to be on the main roster, but I think he was traveling or something. So that's why they play with Noisy.
Even having a really sub, they did so good.
Exactly. And Noisy looked good, but I think that the main story here is Juan looking amazing. So I'm excited about that one. Erodium is, without Caio, still have chances. And finally, INTC, to talk about the top 4 guys, they haven't changed anything. But people might be thinking, well, they lost 2 matches against 2 really tough opponents. Okay, don't get me wrong. But are they, are they still hot? What was going on? And to a lot of people, I have to say, Repi wasn't hospitalized, I think, like maybe a week ago or something. I don't think he's 100%. So I think he's having some issues, not feeling well physically, and then that causes you to have some doubts about yourself mentally. So I really hope that on this next tournament, on the DreamHack, we're gonna see a Repi, do better and enhance PJ's and Ematic's performances.
Yeah, hopefully we see him get better out of any rut he's in mentally and physically. But what do you think is going to happen in the match between Lotus and Erodium? That'll be happening pretty soon in that ESL league that's going on.
I'm going to have my popcorn, and I'm going to be watching, just watching, taking notes here and there, and I'm going to watch it because those 2 teams, they have been looking so good. They both teams beat INTC, and we can say whatever we want to say, but INTC didn't play bad. They didn't play bad. I think they could have played a little bit better, yes, but these 2 teams look great. So I wanna see what happens. I really think Renan is making Haber and Firefox play better. I think so, but at the same time, I think Juan is more comfortable in Erodium, and I'm a fan of Juan. You make me pick a few players in South America, top 5, and Juan is gonna be there. So I don't know. I don't really know.
It's gonna be a big test between them.
Yeah, if you make me pick one, it's gonna be a 5-game series again, and maybe Erodium, but that's a slight maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, by like an inch or so. It's going to be a great matchup to see between those 2 teams. But speaking of the top 4, we've talked a lot about INTZ, Lotus, Erodium, and their counterpart Loki Esports, who's in the other group for that. What are some of the teams and rosters you're kind of expecting to see competing during the DreamHack Montreal qualifiers? Because a lot of people might not know the bubble scene or anyone that'll be playing in the open qualifiers and the 4 teams that could potentially qualify for that closed bracket. Who's really the teams to look out for this weekend on Rocket Street?
I don't know. So that's a problem, because we talk about the roster changes in the top 4, but other than the top 4, everything has changed.
Everything's just fallen apart.
Yep. Cryptic was a top 6 team, and they're no longer together. Orchid is still together. They look a replacement for Noisy, but I think they were top 5 because they had Noisy. No disrespect to the guys, but Noisy is a strong player, really strong player, and he he looked out of place a little bit, with Orchid. Like he was trying things and they were not following him as close as he wanted to. But I still think Orchid is a top 8 team. Don't get me wrong on that one. But we're gonna have to see. What we saw some teams for the BPL. Are they gonna stick together for DreamHack? I don't know, because maybe they haven't had the results they wanted. I think the top 4 is pretty safe, but other than that, I'm not so sure. So we the team with Fassi, that the guy was a sub for Loki. They're doing good, but I think Fassi is carrying the team a little bit too much. So maybe if he finds someone else of that caliber, he might team up with that other person and get a stronger team. I think there are options out there. I'm not gonna mention names. That's not my job again. But I think there are options. So rosters can change a little bit, and BPL only is only for Brazilian teams. So we don't know anything about the guys from Chile. We don't know anything about the guys from Argentina, which usually have a pretty decent team. They can make it to top 8. And Alter is a big fan of one team in Colombia, and they can play also on DreamHack. They had a bad ping on South America. Colombia usually plays in NA East, but he keeps, he swears for his team. He says, my boys are good. My boys can make it top 8. So, I know they're good. But it's still to be tested. It's still to be seen. So beneath the top 4, it is a cluster. We don't know what's going on.
So too hard to tell. And if you want to know more about the other members of the Rocket League scene in South America, definitely tune in to Rocket Street, which will be. When is their broadcast going to be? Do we know the exact time that'll be happening on Saturday for South America? Not yet. Probably just pay attention to their social media feed.
I don't even know if we're going to have a Saturday stream or not. So
gotcha. So it might just be the closed bracket.
Yes, okay. Yes. So maybe Sunday and that's it. But please, keep paying attention to the social media and just follow the channel here and turn on the notification so you get a.
Yeah, definitely do that. Yeah. And definitely follow Chamako09 on Twitter and all the social medias too. It's been great to have you as a guest. Gonna do one final question for you before we close out the show and say our goodbyes and ask for forgiveness if we missed anything. What do you see the future of South American Rocket League looking like?
That's interesting because we ourselves, I don't know. I trust a lot in Pavonator's vision, and I know he's working on a few different things. Because I'm talking about when you mention Rocket League scene in South America, I immediately think about Rocket Street. That's the main thing. But other than Rocket Street, we have the BPL is doing really good. I think that's a good thing. We are seeing some other organizations come up and do LAN events for people in a specific country. Like we're gonna have one maybe in these next few days in Argentina. I know the guys in Chile are doing some things too. So they're staying busy. But the main thing, the best players are in Brazil, so that's also a really good thing. As long as we have invitations, we are allowed to participate in big tournaments. I know we're gonna have these top 4, and hopefully we get to a top 6. I don't want to be talking about South America just top four, and that's it. I want them to expand a little bit. I think we can get to a top 6. Very, very tight matches between those 6 teams. It's not going to happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen this year. But as we keep having chances, opportunities, players are going to improve, and we're going to see that development eventually.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Chamako. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Get all your insight and information. Any quick shout outs you want to make before we close the show off?
Man, I have to thank you, and Rocket League Central, all the people that made it possible for us to have stream in 3 different languages. Big Shadow is right there. We had, a lot of people that had never casted or that had little experience, but they did phenomenally good I don't know if that's a adverb that I can use, but whatever. They did great. They did great. In the stream for the Portuguese listeners. So thank you all so much, Alternix General, and the main guy, the god in the graphics. We have to thank him. Oh man, I'm forgetting his name right now. I'm so sorry.
It happens to the best of us.
Help me here, Alter. I forgot. Oh man, I feel so bad.
While he
right
gets
now.
to us with that name, anyone else other than the graphics guy?
And Rocket Street and all the people in Psionics for finally having us here. Valvo is the name. Valvo. Okay, there you go. That's the god. Valvo. Yeah, we got it. So for Psionics for believing in us, and for the people that have been chanting, all the fans that have been chanting in South America, and they are on the bandwagon right now. Just stay in the bandwagon. It's gonna be great. You're not gonna be disappointed.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Chamako. We're going to do a quick little sign off before we end the show, and thanking you all for tuning in this week. This has been the first episode of Boost Starve. I have been Vaudable, and my guest has been Chamako, probably pointed the wrong way. We're going to have a lot more guests, a lot more action happening in the following weeks. Next week, mainly going to be covering the DreamHack Montreal qualifiers, the results from that. So make sure you follow this channel, twitch.tv/UGC, mixer.com/UGC events, and follow all the social medias. Mine is Vaudable. You can see that down below. I'll be posting information, getting topics and questions and everything. And thank you all yet again for tuning in to Boost Pickup, the first of many awesome shows to come.